You want to do it? She wants me to come. Is he hydrated? Is that a oh, is it a work? You know, just call them. Call them. Hey, oh yeah, you want to remind them of stuff. If you leave a voicemail, please say stuff. It's right there. And then if you get a hold of them, they say they can do a chat. And if they say they can't, cross it off, message to you out loud. That's it. Okay. And if nobody answers, oh, like if they don't have an answering machine and it never answers, you should always run into one of those. That would be cool. Yeah, of course.
All right. Hackers keep changing that to GPS. Brand new phone. Android 7. They can still get past a Norton security, app lock, security settings on the phone, 2 device administrators. Boo. I'm here at the Ypsilanti Library making copies of documents of the City District Court 14-2A, in which I've just had a hearing that concluded a little over an hour and a half ago, in which I called a prosecutor lying, and I accused her of lying on the record. And just Tabby has scheduled a show cause and contempt hearing in which he wants me to produce proof that she lied about the substance of discovery that she articulated and led me to believe I would get in its totality, but in fact only got the police report and not the discovery request that she said that she issued to the location in which the circumstance in which I was attacked by a security guard, and I defended myself to safety. But because the security guard has the presumption of being innocent in the state of Michigan because he's considered a peace officer, I had to be charged first and prove my innocence. So, as you can imagine, law enforcement are trying their hardest to protect him because he is considered a peace officer. And one of the ways that law enforcement and also the prosecution is trying to protect him is they first misled the Ypsilanti District Court to believe, and myself to believe, that they submitted a request for discovery of a videotape of the circumstance that happened at the DHS office here in Ypsilanti, Michigan on 22 Center Street, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197. But then today, she states on the record that instead that she made an inquiry with the investigating police officer about a videotape, who told her that there wasn't any available. And Judge Tobby doesn't seem to be able to understand. Be able to. He didn't seem to understand my position today, or for some strange reason. So I'm going to order a copy of the CD and the transcript and post them on my social online sites so that the public can perhaps determine if they could understand better what it was I was saying and why. But anyway, the judge says that making such an allegation is very serious, and so he wants me to produce proof of it. So hopefully there won't be any corruption or corruption in regards to the transcript in this audio CD that I request. But I have a good memory, so how likely would it be that a Department of Human Services that has a camera facing the lobby for the protection, for that matter, of the workers behind the bulletproof glass windows, that they wouldn't have a video of the incident that happened in the lobby. So I'm determined that there is, but because my public defender, or as of recent public defender, who has asked to be taken off the case and was granted that, and so I've been granted a new attorney. She seemed to have been working with the prosecution, and if it wasn't in fact the prosecution's responsibility to submit a discovery request for the videotape, then why wasn't it the elected due diligence of my public defender to request a subpoena of such very important proof that could actually prevent all of this from going to trial altogether? So just very odd and strange, and I stand behind what I heard in court, and I'm going to accept responsibility for my position. I'm not going to be intimidated by a judge's threats, nor the lack of support in the courtroom from both my public defender and the officer of the court, prosecutor, both of which should be working in the interest of justice, if not for my better defense. And so I've come here and I just scanned documents to two of my Gmails, and I'm waiting for them to arrive. And I was well, I mean, let's put it this way. When I first came here and conducted the scan to my email, I didn't take out my phone. I trusted that things would go well. As to not be paranoid, but in the previous video I made to this, you could see me pushing the finish button, and here they are still not here. So I don't know if I'd have enough memory to go through the whole process again. But it's very difficult to get to a free scanner for me. I guess I could experiment with my phone, but the images won't come through as clearly. So let me make sure, because hackers have a way of stunting the what do you call this? The syncing of Google accounts, and I tell you, all kinds of strange stuff happens with my Google apps, and I can't tell anymore if it's hackers external to Google or within Google that are aiding law enforcement to conduct unlawful and unwarranted surveillance and or hacking. But it just doesn't make sense, the amount of hacking that I've experienced in control of my online accounts and my devices, like this brand new LG Stilo Android 7.1 operating system smartphone. I don't have complete control over it, and why would a sophisticated hacker or hackers, or men in the middle, or whatever you want to call them, not only want to target my devices, but specific files pertaining to the cases that I've in two district courts here in Washtenaw County, all of which are related to gang stalking and civil rights violations by the arresting officers, complaining officers. The case here in Ypsilanti, Michigan, the only foul play that seems to be the case is getting my hands on that video. But for the most part, they seem to have taken my side of the report accurately. So, yeah. You know, it's incredible and an extreme shame that apparently there's so many supporters in the Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti city of unlawful and unethical practices of not only the court systems here, specifically the 2A District Court in Ypsilanti, but also the 15th District Court in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And they go to such extremes as to act on the behalf of law enforcement to conduct the hacks themselves, or to make for diversions or harassments and distractions. And it's like, wow, you know, I mean, for whatever reason, they all may agree with all of this happening to me as such an extreme violation of my civil liberties. They don't realize that they're probably less capable than I am of making an attempt to defend myself, and they are more vulnerable. These practices generalize to an entire community, not just individuals, but of course people are lied to and inclined to believe whatever an authority figure such as a law enforcement tells them, I presume. So I just can't imagine there's this many criminals in the community. I think people think they're doing something good, you know, for the community, under very bad direction and counsel, without realizing that they're undercutting their own civil liberties, and they're establishing a precedent of behavior and tactics that can be used against them or a loved one or someone they know eventually, or it could be used against them now and they don't even know it. You know, I'm such an extremely detailed person, and I've noticed all this stuff, and so it's all come to light because of that. Most people are too busy. They don't have the time to realize their phone is hacked. In every sense. Anyway, I'm at this machine now, and I'm going to try to do this all over again from the beginning. The camera may cut off, but I'm going to try to record as much of it as I can. Yeah. Whoa. That's not supposed to happen. Okay. Okay. This might get a little boring. Oh no. I wanted it at a higher resolution, but that's fine. I'll just take this for now. The last one I chose a higher resolution. But, oh well. I think it's a good idea to point this out too. Funny, this is the ticket that I got from Washtenaw County Sheriff. because I was detained after being hit by a car in Ann Arbor, because there was a outstanding warrant for my arrest because I showed up to court here in Ypsilanti for this case. And I showed up, it was scheduled for 10. I showed up around 2 because of illness, and the judge was still on the bench. But the sheriff wouldn't let me enter the court. They said that my case had been heard already. But the strange thing is, today I was there, as I have been before the last instance that all this happened, the previous hearing. And every time I've been there up until 2 o'clock. And there were still people left in the court to be seen. So, as far as I'm concerned, that was just another tactic for the of intimidation by the Washtenaw County Sheriff to aid the Ypsilanti Police Department in this fraudulent claim of a case against me. And so after getting hit by that car on the 15th of March,